What? The actual fuck.
Darling.
Remember when you were looking at the latest season and you saw Darling in the Franxx? Man, there was so much hype around this. These guys made Kill la Kill, Gurren Lagann, Neon Genesis. So yeah, you were looking forward to it. And instead we got this.
Darling.
Man, the first few episodes were so strong. All these elements hit you. These kids, Klaxosaurs, their leader Papa, plantations, their post-apocalyptic world. The show introduces these elements perfectly. The information is drip-fed to you piece by piece with specific scenes and actions. They have elaborate ceremonies with these creepy-looking adults. This guy looks like he's on the verge of death and no one cares. And the main character hero mentions kids finding in robots was their sole purpose in life. And the craziest part is just how the society just accepts this. And that's when the questions come firing out of you. Who's their god prime minister? What are the Klaxosaurs? They don't have parents and they're basically tools for war, so where do the kids really come from? This is a perfect dystopian setting, and I love dystopian settings. I just finished reading 1984, I bought Brave New World, I love the Bioshock games, all because they have such great dystopian settings. There's a great episode that revolves around Zorome visiting an actual city and speaking to an actual adult, both things that he's heard of and glorified but not really experienced. You get to see how this couple live. Her partner is in some pod whilst we assume he's been given drugs to stimulate happiness. They don't eat food as they have no need to eat anymore, and they have these weird wide hearts. But everyone's happy, aren't they? Whilst all this rolls around in the background, we get to learn more about the kids in Team 13. They're all pretty generic, tall glasses brother, chubby foodie, wannabe idol girl, and so on. We get to see them with these typical adolescent conflicts, like love triangles and being the weird outsider, and this contrasts nicely with the overall chaotic world they live in. Even in this end of the world setting, teens are still teens. So with the dystopian future, kick-ass robots, and some teen drama, this is looking like a perfect pizza. But somewhere along the line, it turned out like this. So, what was so wrong about the show? Well, remember after a battle they lose contact with their deity leaders who have always provided for them, and they need to find food and clean water? They need to survive on their own for the first time. This is a cool idea, but everything just seems so rushed. Zorome, who has always loved the leaders, has a really half-hearted existential crisis as he realises the leaders he's worshipped have abandoned him. Then they spend literally 30 seconds exploring the fact that Futoshi has an eating disorder. What? Things are looking pretty dire for our friends. They're just about getting through this level of abandonment, and just as you feel like the show and the characters are making a breakthrough, they decide to have a wedding? Another time, they go back and visit the garden. This is the kindergarten-like area where all the kids in fighting robots come from. This is where they're assigned numbers and taught the meaning of their life and the world around them. They go back and see how all the kids are being tested on, and they see how the other kids are being injected with drugs so they become parasites to fight the robots. They even reminisce about how children would disappear and they wouldn't know where they went. This is great. Finally an insight into the child-making factory, an opportunity to get the answers about where they come from and uncover the sinister nature of their world. But we got none of that. Instead, like a lot of things, they just started to touch on it, and then they just moved on to another story point. I was really hoping to get some more answers from this little story arc. Man, wouldn't it be cool if in this part, the kids stumble upon a cloning facility like the one in the first Pokemon movie? They could finally see how other children are made to be parasites, and the kids' perceptions of themselves and the lies they have been fed could be shattered. Then the alarm goes off, telling the kids they need to go fight off things like normal. Their current life is unchanged, but they are significantly troubled with this newfound knowledge. And then there's the ending. Man, is the ending bad. So, up until this point, the show pretty much established Earth as its setting. Then the writers decided, you know what's a good idea? Let's go to space, because that worked before. Round about this point, Hiro announces he wants to go to space to go see Zero 2. Then they have this confrontation, where Goro tells Hiro, "You're always running off doing your own thing, never considering the feelings of those around you. They're working insanely hard to rebuild civilization. They could all die from starvation in the next few months." And he's saying he just wants to run off into space. Then 5 seconds later, he's like, "Yeah, sure, sounds fine. Man, I'm with you. Let's all go to space now." Then Hiro and Zero 2 go deeper into space, destroy the enemy firm, 8 years pass, and the rest of the gang are back on Earth and have rebuilt humanity. All in the space of 2 episodes.
Alright! It's the Time Wizard! Don't you know? The Time Wizard can make time go faster.
The reason this had me so mad is because the show started so strong. It had all the potential to be another cult classic. Instead, I just felt as though the writing got sloppy and lazy, and instead of really pushing themselves, they decided to sell out with just a bunch of old tropes, some cheap fan service, and a set of waifu pandering characters. With other animes, it's great to see them really exploring different ideas, and it's just shitty when something great just sells out like this. Darling in the Franxx, you could have done better.
Darling.